Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend.
Hey everyone, I am Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist, a folklorist, and a good bud to the universe, as well as to my co-host.
You are! And I'm Corinne Caputo. I'm a writer and a fun person, and I'm lately feeling like I'm a good friend, which has been so thrilling.
Oh, yay! A nice friend evolution is so satisfying. I saw a post on Instagram that was talking about the different archetypes of friends.
Ooh.
I think there were 4 of them, and one of them was like a social butterfly or a wallflower.
I saw this today.
Oh, okay, great.
Was this on the New York Times wellness Instagram?
Yes, it was. And then there was the firefly or something else. I am a firefly friend. I like to have relatively infrequent meetings with people that I feel very connected to. And we can, on those infrequent gatherings, we can get pretty deep.
Yeah, I love that too. I'm really realizing how much I need regular friendship activities in my life, but they don't need to be hitting the same group. They can be, but I just love being around any kind of person.
It sounds like you might be a butterfly, Corinne.
That might be me, yeah. We went to my husband's high school reunion this past weekend, and I was like, I don't know any of you, but I've decided you're all, we all went to high school together.
Oh my God, Corinne, yes. Look at you. Could not be me. I would be in the corner and be like, please do not perceive me. I am not here.
A younger me definitely would have. I don't know why. Maybe since I moved to Maine, where I'm like, nope, I need people.
I need people. We are not around people right now. Corinne, can you tell the listeners where we are?
We're in our custom time machine. It was really hard to get, but we did pull it off. And this is a sponsorship for this custom time machine. They did say that you can have it as long as you mention what it is. So we are in a time machine right now. We are excited to take a trip through history.
Yes. We are starting a new segment that we expect will probably be recurring called This Week in Astronomy History, where we get into our custom time machine and we travel back to several years, but the same week every single for all of those years. And we're bringing you information and news from those different weeks in history, all about space stuff. Corinne and I have each picked a few different years to travel to.
I'm very excited. I hope I don't get motion sick on this journey, but we'll see.
I think we bought that package, right? We bought the anti-nausea package.
And it turns out it's just little wristbands that you put on.
But it added $5,000 to the total price.
I'm like, we can't stand for this. So we'll see if this is the company we partner with next time. No, but I'm very excited to go through history this week. I think this was a really fun week, it turns out. I had no idea. We're covering the week from June 23rd to June 29th, and I expected a lot to be happening because it's June in the summertime. We're around the summer solstice, so you can see a lot in the sky. In the summertime is when Earth is pointing towards the galactic center, so we can see cool, scientifically interesting things. But I had maybe a little bit more trouble finding astronomical phenomena, astronomical events instead of people events in history. Yeah.
So let's just get into it. Corinne, what year are we traveling to first?
First, we are going back to 1983.
Ooh, I wasn't alive then, but I feel like the music was good.
Music was good. Hair was good. I feel like a lot of the styles are bright. Colors were bright. Belts. People were wearing belts.
Ooh, yeah.
On June 24th, 1983, Sally Ride returned home from her space mission.
Oh, ride, Sally, ride. Yeah. Ride on home.
Right on home. So Sally Ride is the first American woman in space. She is the 3rd overall woman to travel to space. But she was the first from NASA, and she was 32 when she went up. That is an age I love to hear. I feel like a lot of times we hear first whoever, and they're 22 years old, and you're like, oh God. Yeah. What am I doing with my life? Sally Ride was 32. She took off last week in history, June 19th, and returned on June 24th.
Okay, so 5 days.
5 days. 5-day trip on the Challenger. So this was this was 3 years before the Challenger disaster, not to get sad, but it is the same. I wasn't sure. But Sally Ride's a former tennis champ. I didn't know that. And she decided to become an astronaut in 1977, so about 6 years before. She saw an ad in like a campus newsletter for NASA recruiting. She was studying English and physics.
Wow.
And she was one of like 1,000 women who applied. 7,000 men applied. And there were only 35 spaces overall for the 1978 training program. And she got it. She made it.
Wow. Good for her. 32. Wow.
I know,
and from tennis. Like, I can't imagine there are many transferable skills.
Well, I guess, like, her physics stuff, but I'm like, maybe she's just so good at, like, hitting the ball around. I feel like that would make you good in microgravity, like, just movement.
Sure. You know what? I'll take
knows?
it. Who am I to assess what skills can be transferred from one area to the next? Because most of my skills, I think, people wouldn't expect to be transferable from, like, astronomy to other things.
I know. I feel like when people try to make a career switch, it's like, what? But none of my skills. And I'm like, no. You've definitely project managed in your life. You've definitely, like, led a team. You've definitely done these things. It's kind of all the same.
Yeah. So for all the tennis players out there, you know, look to the stars.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love that. Hit a ball straight through the stars. Sally Ride was a flight engineer. I didn't know what her role was, but that means that she monitors the controls and makes sure nothing goes wrong during like the ascent and descent.
Oh, cool.
And then up in space, she had to control the 50-foot retractable robotic arm to retrieve a satellite or a satellite package of experiments or something they were getting. But she also helped design the robotic arm.
Oh, very cool. Kind of like a big claw machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it was the first time a satellite had been grabbed from space. And it paved the way for satellites being repaired in orbit.
Awesome.
And this was the first time the shuttle carried 5 crew members instead of 3.
Did they have to put in extra seats?
I wonder.
Or was there standing room only?
I think that's so funny. It's like, and you'll just stand in the back.
Yeah.
No seatbelt, nothing.
No, just hold on real tight. That's why the tennis skills are important, because you have the grip strength to hold on.
Exactly. And you can stay on your feet for a long time. The coolest thing that I learned isn't quite about Sally, but it's about this mission, which is that the crew was supposed to land at Cape Canaveral in Florida, but because of cloud cover, they changed and landed at Edwards Air Force Base in California. 3,000 miles away, which everyone landed safely, which is NASA's like number one goal. But it also means NASA then has to transport the Challenger from California to Florida, where it will like take its next ride. And for some reason, despite reading about space travel, I was like, how the hell are they going to transport that back on a truck? Is like the only thing I could think. It was like, well, now they're on land. How are they going to get over to Florida? Of course, they're not driving it down the highway. They're flying
on a boat. It's on a boat.
No, it's on a jumbo jet.
They're flying a rocket on a plane?
Yes. And if you Google like jumbo jet Challenger NASA, you'll see these pictures of like the Challenger sitting on top of this big plane, like bugs mating or something. Like they're just like on top of each other, something horrible. I just said.
I love that that's the analogy.
I know, that's where my head
went.
Like
bugs mating, and not just like, you know, someone carrying a canoe on their truck or something.
Not a kangaroo.
Bugs,
nothing.
Bugs doing it. That's
bugs
where you are.
Bugs doing it is what my head thinks of. Sorry about that.
You're welcome for that, actually.
That's why you come to this podcast. But yeah, they brought it back to Florida.
Yeah, they did. Okay. I would have guessed they put it on a boat.
I guess they would have had to sail it.
Oh, because they can't. It's too big for the canal. I guess.
Okay.
No, flying makes sense. You're right. This Sally Ride trip, is this the origin of the completely humiliating NASA story where they asked her if she needed 100 tampons for this trip?
I'll bet it is. I think it was 1,000 tampons even.
That's, oh my God.
You know, it's good to be prepared.
Yeah. Think of all the things you can do with the extra, like, 990 tampons you have.
Oh, that's so funny. No, it was 100. You're right.
Okay.
I'm just making it more dramatic.
Okay, good. But yeah, so in case you haven't heard the story, when they were preparing for this trip, NASA puts together kits with supplies and necessary items for all of the astronauts. And because Sally was the first American woman to go up, NASA had never had to deal with menstruation in space before. And so they, good on them for recognizing that was a thing that could happen. But they genuinely asked this woman if it would be normal to go through 100 tampons in 1 week. Less than 1 week.
It's really crazy how much people who aren't in that world really aren't in this should be standard teaching. I don't know.
Yeah, these people can literally calculate how to get to space. The thrust and the velocity and the force, everything. Yeah. But they cannot.
They didn't know we don't go through 100 tampons a day. And you know what? It's good they asked.
Yeah, it is. And I think we talk more about stuff like this in our episode on the 6th with Lauren Grush. So you can go there and hear all sorts of stories, like when NASA asked if the women astronauts wanted makeup in their kits. So yeah, go listen to that episode and read The 6th by Lauren Grush. Okay, I found an event from history that's going to take us back to 1992.
I was alive here.
Okay, I still wasn't. So
we're living without Moiya.
I know. It must have been a sad time.
What a rough year.
On June 25th, 1992, NASA launched their microgravity laboratory, the United States Microgravity Laboratory. It went up on the space shuttle Columbia, and it orbited Earth in kind of a low orbit from June 25th to July 9th. And it had 31 different experiments on board, all of them trying to figure out how microgravity would affect different processes. So one of the experiments was figuring out how microgravity affects the growth of crystals, specifically crystals that could be used in semiconductors. And my guess is that they were thinking the lower gravity would make the crystals grow faster. But I don't know if that is the case. That was just one of the experiments. They also had experiments in fluid physics. How does fluid move in microgravity? And a whole suite of what they called biotechnology experiments, which seemed pretty sus when I first saw it.
Curious what you mean about that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it was looking at how people's bodies are affected in space, but one of the projects looked at protein crystal growth. I didn't know that protein grew in crystals.
Me neither. I mean, I don't know much about protein, I guess.
Me neither, but we have proteins in us. Living organisms have proteins in us, and I guess it's important to know how microgravity will affect those proteins.
Yeah.
So it orbited for almost 2 weeks. It was crewed by 7 astronauts. 2 of them were women, and it returned to ground with no major issues on any front.
It's funny how these this was probably a very influential mission for a lot of information about these things. And if it's not a famous mission, I have no idea it even happened.
Right. This was one of the many successful space shuttle missions that I'll talk more about in my next thing, all about the space shuttle program.
I love the space shuttle. Okay, my second piece is that on this day, June 25th, 2023, recent, we were both alive.
We were. And so were most of you listeners.
So we're, hopefully. Juno, a NASA space probe that was orbiting Jupiter, took this cool photo of lightning on Jupiter. So I'll make a carousel for our Instagram of this episode, but it's this kind of little glowing green dot in the middle of this storm on Jupiter. And Juno's a NASA space probe. It's operated by NASA's JPL, the Jet Propulsion Lab, launched in 2011. Started orbiting Jupiter in 2016. And lightning occurs on other planets. We've talked about this. On Earth, lightning originates from water clouds. And it happens, I didn't know this happens most frequently near the equator.
Oh.
And while on Jupiter, lightning also occurs in clouds containing an ammonia water solution and can be seen most often near the poles.
Interesting.
Just a fun little bit about Jupiter.
That is a fun little bit about Jupiter. I feel like we talked a little bit about Jupiter lightning in our Jupiter episode, but I feel like we're still trying to study the exact mechanisms for this Jupiter lightning and what makes it different.
Yes.
So it's an active area of research.
And I also love, they call it Jovian lightning because of Jupiter, but
By Jove. Yeah.
I never hear the word Jovian ever, so in my life.
So
I was like, maybe Jovian lightning is like a kind of lightning, like in the weather world, but no, it's like Jupiter lightning.
It's a good word. We talk a lot about the Jovian moons or the Jovian system in astronomy. But yeah, you're right. It's an underutilized word. We should
it's a great word.
Do that more. Is the lightning actually green?
Well, it is in this photo. I'll bet this is a colorized image, as like most of those pictures are. But there was other pictures I saw of Jupiter lightning that were kind of yellowish.
Okay.
So it might just be how it's like colored. But it looks spooky scary.
Yeah, spooky scary, but still like very similar to our lightning. Like it fractures in the same way. It's still just like charges moving from one place to another.
I think what I like the most about the picture is we're like so far away. This probe is so far away from Jupiter, but it like the planet feels so massive in this photo. Just like this huge storm, so many storms above and below it, and then like this little dot of glow.
Oh, I really like the NASA APODs, the astronomy pictures of the day.
Yes, they're great.
Yeah, I have a feeling they'll feature in many more of our future This Week in Astro Histories.
I think so too.
Cool. All right, I'm going to take us back to 2011. Again, we were both alive. On June 28th, 2011, NASA launched its last space shuttle flight ever. And the space shuttle program was officially retired very shortly after, once this shuttle returned. So the space shuttle Atlantis flew the mission STS-135. It was the 135th space shuttle mission, and it was meant to deliver different supplies to the International Space Station. This was the third space shuttle launch in 2011. Before that, Discovery, the space shuttle Discovery, had delivered robotics equipment and other supplies to the International Space Station, and Endeavour, the space shuttle, had delivered a really expensive astronomy experiment. I read that it cost like upwards of $1 billion to make this experiment. But after the Atlantis shuttle returned on July 11th of 2011, all three of those shuttles were officially retired, and the entire space shuttle program was put to rest.
Aww.
I know. And it's had like weird consequences. I don't know how I feel about it. I would love to hear your thoughts, Corinne. But the space shuttle program ran from 1981 to 2011, but it has its origins in the 1960s, before we even set foot on the moon. This is when the U.S. really funded space research and space flight, and so they had the funds and the motivation to develop this space shuttle program, which would shuttle cargo from Earth up to the International Space Station and other low-orbit destinations like the Hubble telescope. So this is how we fixed the Hubble telescope in 1995. And they do that with a small fleet of orbiter spacecraft. And really the whole purpose of them is to like launch up. They orbit around Earth and they dock with other things like the International Space Station so they can perform their missions. And then they come back down and they're reusable, which is exciting. But it puts a lot of damage on them. Altogether, the space shuttle program did 135 missions. The vast majority of them were successful. They carried 355 astronauts up into space in total. Yeah, that's about half of all the astronauts that have ever gone up into space.
That's got to be a huge chunk of people who've gone to space.
Yeah,
I think there's been like a little less than 700.
Yeah, so this is more than half. Yeah. And there were 6 different shuttles. There was Atlantis, Discovery, Endeavour, Columbia, Enterprise, and Challenger. RIP. We will be doing a Challenger episode at some point in the future when we're feeling too happy, probably.
Yeah, if I ever need to bring myself down.
Right. All told, the shuttle program cost the U.S. $196 billion. But that's over 30 years, 135 missions. I think that's paying for the astronauts to go up. Like, I think that this is it's a big number, but this is also a really big program. It was so valuable. It fixed Hubble. It delivered equipment and supplies to the International Space Station, making it possible for us to always have kind of an occupied spot up in space.
Sure.
But the program was shut down in 2011. And this is after decades of NASA underfunding and a lack of public support for space research. This is kind of during the time, this is right before I got into astronomy. And I remember when I first started taking astronomy classes and really getting my feet into this community, more so than I hear now, I heard a lot of conversations about what is the point of astronomy. That seemed to be a time when people just didn't understand why we needed to be doing astronomy research and what value it provided. Yeah. So this all happens in a context. NASA couldn't send its own astronauts up into space anymore after the shuttle program ended, so they had to pay for seats on foreign space shuttles to send our astronauts up. And I think almost always it was Russian shuttles that we were putting our astronauts on. And it was like that for, 8-9 years until 2020 when NASA started the Commercial Crew Program. This is when NASA started to pay private companies to shuttle stuff up to space for them. I think the first one was Crew Dragon. It was SpaceX's craft or shuttle. And the notable thing about this program is that it was not publicly funded and the shuttle could be reused. So yeah, I'd say 2020 is the year that the whole commercial space flight thing really started to take off. At least that's when I started to take notice. And now we're in definitely a heavy period of commercial space activity. And I don't love that. I think in the future we're going to have to do a whole episode on the commercial space industry and cover who the players are and what they're doing and the benefits and the harms that they're putting out into the astronomy world. But Corinne, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm so frustrated by commercial space because I think it's a waste of time. I don't think I'm the most informed on it. That said, I grew up watching PBS. Hearing that people were confused about the value astronomy brings is so strange to me because my default has always been pro learning. We should just know what's going on. So I think those two things are at odds where I'm like, shouldn't we be doing this for the sake of knowledge and not for the sake of money or ego? Yeah, I love this. I have such a soft spot for the space shuttle. It was kind of my whole childhood was kind of space missions through the 90s and early 2000s. That's what I thought of as going to space was the space shuttle. And then the space center I worked at was a Challenger Learning Center, which was created after the Challenger missions to help children learn about space and get excited the way Chris McCullough of the Challenger tragedy did. And we talked a lot about the space shuttle. So there were so many models that I held and walked kids through how big they are and what they're like. And so that's I have a lot of love for the space shuttle.
Yeah, me too. Though I didn't know about it. I've probably said on the pod before, but I had zero interest in space until 2013 when I took my first astronomy class.
And then it was dead.
And it was, the program was dead by then. And so I really am just learning about the shuttle program now as I'm doing research for talks and for the pod.
Yeah.
But in general, I just think the exploration of space should not be up to individual otherworldly wealthy people.
Yeah, and I so appreciate money not being hoarded, but I don't think this is the way. I don't think this is what I mean when I wish for wealth to be shared.
Yes, this is not the wealth distribution I have been dreaming about.
It's not quite right. Hey, it's me, Corinne. I hope everybody listening is keeping cool, having fun. And I'm going to give a thank you, as always, to our Patreons, or patrons, I guess is the word, who keep the podcast going. So thank you to our Sun-like stars, Lissa, Scott Reynolds, Ian O'Leary, Augustin, and Tom T., and our latest pre-main sequence star, James Pfeffer. You can support us, hear your name on the show, make it to our patron star chart, all by supporting us on Patreon for just about $1 per episode. And if you sign up for an annual membership, you get a 13% discount.
We all love a sale. Find the star chart, Patreon info, and more at our website, palebluepod.com, or by going right to patreon.com/palebluepod. And if you can't support us financially, as always, we still love you very much. No problem. Consider leaving us a review on whatever app you're using and sharing it with your friends. And if you wish you had more Multitude shows to catch up on, I have incredible news. Members of the Multi-Crew get a whole RSS feed full of bonus audio, including the newest show, the Multi-Crew Review. Every month, Julia of Spirits and Join the Party sits down with one of the other members of Multitude to talk about something that they love and they think you'll love too. I did this show. We talked about Vanderpump Rules for all my reality show fans out there. But there's also episodes about video games or albums or activities like gardening, and more members of Multitude show their passion and love, and they hope to introduce you to something you'll love too. Along with Head, Heart, Gut, Multi-Crew Review is exclusively for members of the Multi-Crew, our membership program that supports all of Multitude. So get Multi-Crew Review and Head, Heart, Gut, as well as other audio exclusives by going to multicrew.club to sign up today. And finally, I have a really exciting offer for cat owners. Litter Robot is the solution to all of your litter box problems. Never scoop again with Litter Robot. Litter Robot's self-cleaning technology automatically cleans after every use, so your cats will have a fresh bed of litter to do their business, and your friends won't think your house smells like a litter box, because obviously that's what we're all worrying about. And get this, Litter Robot will send a notification to your phone when it needs to be emptied. It even gives you data and insights to stay on top of your cat's health. It's easy to set up. The weight sensor automatically cleans, and you can set how long the robot waits before it starts a cleaning cycle. So in case you have a skittish cat or a cat who might need a little more time getting comfortable, you know that you'll be all good during that transition period. As a special offer to listeners of the show, go to stopscooping.com/palebluepod and enter code palebluepod to save an extra $50 on any Litter Robot bundle. That's an extra $50 off any Litter Robot bundle at stopscooping.com/palebluepod and entering code palebluepod at checkout. Okay, I think that's everything. We love you very much. Bye. All right, so on June 26th, I'm going to take us all the way back to 1730.
Ooh, we're pushing our time machine.
To the limits. This is when Charles Messier is born in France. Mm-hmm. Charles Messier, really helped start as, an amateur astronomer. And one night there's, 100 billion comets in the outer regions of the solar system. But, before the 90s, we knew of, maybe 900, I think is what I read. And this is because, comets are dim too dim to be detected without the proper tools. So we didn't know about all of them. But also what's crazy is occasionally a comet will sweep past the sun and it's bright enough to be seen during the daytime with a naked eye, which is very rare and very unusual. And an instance like this occurred in 1744. And who witnessed it but Charles Messier?
Oh, a young teen Charles Messier.
But a teen. And he eventually discovered over a dozen comets.
Nice.
But this event really kicked off, I think, a lot of interest for him. He discovered so many comets, he had a nickname called the Comet Ferret from King Louis XV.
Why a ferret?
I don't know.
It wouldn't have rhymed in French, maybe?
Oh, I wonder. Camille Ferry? I don't know. French is not my language. I have been trying to learn it on Duolingo, though, and I've been flopping hard.
It's hard to keep those streaks going.
Yeah. So I just gave up. This is a PSA for everyone out there. If you're feeling stressed by your streaks, don't do it. Just break the streak.
Yeah, don't let the streak control you. You control the streak.
Exactly. But Charles, as he became more professional, he was frustrated, I think, by the fuzzy objects he was seeing that weren't comets. So he created this list of essentially objects to avoid. And it was the first serious catalog of nebulae, clusters, and galaxies, and it's still in use today. The catalog was revised in the 20th century and now has 110 objects. And amateur astronomers use Messier's catalog as a guide to some of, the cosmic sights they're trying to witness in the Northern Hemisphere.
Nice. Yeah, and the Messier catalog is one of the first catalogs I learned about in astronomy. Cool. Not that I had a catalog class or whatever, but people would always be talking about M31, which is Andromeda, or M33, or all of these other well-known galaxies that have their own names. but I heard of them first as Messier catalog objects, which is wild to me. So anytime you're like hearing about astronomy or reading about astronomy and you see a capital M followed by a number, that is from the Messier catalog, and it stands for Messier, that number. Yeah.
We've talked about M numbers before, and I didn't know, so that's fun.
Yeah, and they're all beautiful, right? Like the awesome thing about Charles Messier making this catalog of annoying fuzzy objects back in the 1730s when he could just barely see them through rudimentary telescopes is that now when we have beautiful high-powered telescopes that can take detailed images, we can see that those fuzzy things have structure and they have colors and they tell us about what's going on in those nebulae. I recommend everyone going through the Messier catalog and maybe finding your favorite Messier object. And you can let us know.
Yes.
Do I have a favorite Messier object? I think the one that I would notice immediately is M31. It's Andromeda, which we're going to be talking a lot about next week. So that's a hint for what's to come. But no, I don't think I have a favorite. They're all just great. But you, listeners, you let us know your favorites.
Yes, please do.
Okay, for my last travel destination, I'm going to take us to 1911. This is
alive.
Not alive. This is June 28th, 1911, which is exactly 100 years before Atlantis took that last flight or launched for the last time. So on June 28th, 1911, the Nakhla meteorite fell near the village of El Nakhla El Bahariya in Egypt. And it fell around 9 a.m. local time, was witnessed by a bunch of people, made news, and even inspired a whole new class of meteorites. So this is a really historic impactful event, if you will. As a reminder, because I forget this all the time, a meteoroid is a small rock out in space above our atmosphere floating around the Earth. And it's usually like a little piece of comet or asteroid that has broken off of the bigger body.
Yeah.
A meteor is a bright flash of light that is actively in the atmosphere. That's what happens when a meteoroid is burning because of friction as it passes through our atmosphere. And then it's a meteorite once it falls to the ground. And the meteorites are usually much smaller because the meteor fractures into tiny pieces as it's falling through the atmosphere. Yes.
Okay.
So you have the meteoroid, which is relatively big. You have the meteor, which is burning and breaking apart. And then the meteorites are the tiny little broken apart pieces. So this meteor, the Nakhla meteor, was falling and then split up into about 40 pieces that were found all around this village in Egypt. And it covered several square miles. The radius was pretty large. It broke up into about 40 pieces. In the total mass estimates for the meteorite that I found, some said that it was 10 kilograms total, but I did see going up to 30 or 40 kilograms total. So,
oh, wow.
Whatever. But the individual pieces, it's hard to calculate because all the pieces were scattered. The individual pieces, they ranged in mass from about 20 grams up to about 1.8 kilograms. So 20 grams is pretty light. 1.8 kilograms is 4 pounds. So
that's
these
a huge
pieces
range.
are small.
Yeah, but I feel like there's so many that's such a range. I'm thinking of just baking and putting 20 grams of something in versus putting a pound.
Oh, that's a good comparison. Yeah, thanks. Because I wrote down these things in grams instead of ounces or pounds.
Yeah.
But yes, people are familiar with this from baking.
I mean, at least I am.
Yes. I never measure things that thoroughly when I'm baking.
Oh my God, baking's supposed to be measured, if anything.
I know, but I'm loosey-goosey, Corinne.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm completely the same way. I hate being precise. I think my body just rejects it.
Yeah. I want to make food with my soul and with my nose. So get out of here, direct measurements.
I'm like, my gut's guiding me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, some greater being is guiding me through this cupcake.
Yeah, my ancestors tell me how to bake. This recipe doesn't tell me how to bake.
You don't tell me what to do.
All of those 40 pieces, they were pretty distributed. First when it landed, but then also after people found them, they just kind of spread through both official and more nefarious means. Like, I'm sure there were people just like handing this out and like back deals, like shady deals.
Yeah.
But 2 of the pieces were donated to the British Museum by the Egyptian government. So they weren't stolen, which is nice.
Kind of nice.
Kind of nice, kind of rare. But yes, you can see 2 pieces of the Nakhla meteor in the British Museum. This is a special meteorite because it was the first to be determined to come from Mars. It wasn't the first that landed here that came from Mars, but this was the first one where we were like, oh yeah, that one comes from Mars. But we didn't learn that until about 70 years after it fell. It took us a long time. I think because the technology just didn't exist to analyze the components, and we didn't know as much about Mars's composition to compare it to anything.
Sure, yeah.
But now we're able to tell that it came from Mars because the composition of the rock itself basically perfectly matches the Martian surface, and the gases that got trapped in little pockets of the meteorites as they burned through the atmosphere and like glass formed over these little pockets of air, we can analyze that gas and compare it to the Martian atmosphere, and it matches 100%.
That's so cool that we know that or can figure it out. 23andMe, but for rocks.
Yes. Even more than that, we can figure out how old it is and likely how it formed based on radioisotope dating and something called crystallization ages, where you look at the crystalline structure of different rocks to see like how long ago the structure formed and like how it's changed over time. Those methods suggest that this meteor formed in a volcano on Mars and was launched off of Mars's surface when an asteroid or comet hit Mars.
Oh, wow.
And we think that happened 1.3 billion years ago.
Wow, that's very far away. I don't think this time machine can take us there.
No, we have to buy an extra, like a juice up package for that. A nitro package.
Turbo mode.
Yes. The meteorite also showed signs of water from the past. So this is one of the reasons that we think Mars had water in the past, like one of the early pieces of evidence. Cool. There are some clay deposits in the meteorite fragments, like clay forms in the presence of water. And so that tells them not just that there was water, but about how long ago there was water because of how dry the clay is.
I love when it feels like a detective.
Yes.
Big fan.
Yeah. And like I said before, the Nakhla meteorite has a whole class of meteorites named after it. So after they found it and studied it, they were looking at its features, and it was significantly different from other meteors that had been found. The thing that sets it apart is that it is rich in a mineral called augite, which I have never heard of before, and it is an igneous rock that forms in flows or shallow intrusions of basaltic magma on Mars. So it has this specific mineral, augite, and it forms in hot places in these volcano conditions, but it cools down relatively quickly. And there are now like 3 different subclasses of the Nakhla meteor type. And that has taught us more about how Mars has evolved. It's taught us more about the evolution of our entire solar system. Like, good stuff comes from these tiny little rocks.
I love that.
I think our time machine might be tired of going into the past now.
Hear the fans turning on.
Yeah. I mean, 6 different jumps is a lot to ask of our time machine. So maybe we give that a break. Any reactions or comments on the years that we've traveled to so far?
It's fun to travel back this far and then also know the universe has been around so much longer than even that. Yeah. So who knows what happened on this day?
In the year 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, while our time machine kind of cools down from all that work, I think it'd be fun for us to predict something and look to the future.
Yes.
I'd like us each to predict something that would happen on this week years from now.
Okay.
And if it comes true, maybe we can do a little wager. Like see what would happen if it comes true.
Okay, I was thinking my thing happened like 50 years from now. But we can come back.
Yeah, in 50 years we can settle this wager. All right, Corinne, what's your prediction?
Okay, this is so crazy, but this is going to happen on June 24th, 2077. A NASA device is going to take a picture of we have a new robot on Mars that's taking pictures, sending pictures back, and it's more of a live stream video than it is photos. So there's this huge dust storm. Some people were tuning in to see the dust storm, some people weren't, and the dust has settled, and someone noticed that there's this strange thing on a rock where it looks like someone had written, like, you know when you write on the dirt in a car, on a car window?
Wash me?
Yeah. It looks like somebody wrote hello, but it could just be how the dust settled. But obviously the internet, if that still exists, is just absolutely blowing up because there might be an alien or a person that's out there writing hello to us.
Hello in English.
Hello. It is in English. It is very American. Yeah.
Wow. I can't wait for that to happen.
It's such a crazy day. Yeah, it's going to be a huge day.
Yeah, the robo journalists are going to really have a field day.
Oh my God, they're going to lose their minds. Absolutely.
All of the humans who are just working in the fields while the robots make art.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to hear about it
through them
in like a month.
Yep.
Yeah, through them.
You're so right.
Oh, no.
So that's going to happen.
All right. Well, we'll come back in 50 years and see what do you want as your prize if this happens
if this happens, I want immunity in the global takeover of from robots.
Okay, well
me
done.
and anyone I pick, and then it's like wishing for 1,000 wishes or infinite wishes, where I just pick everybody, and then this is how we'll end the robot war.
Ha ha ha! Because the robots, they don't know about loopholes. They didn't watch Aladdin. They couldn't take in the nuances of Aladdin. Awesome. Well, I see that wager, and I'm so excited to find the outcome. All right. My prediction is a little closer to us in time, because I really feel like this could happen at any minute. So we haven't seen a supernova explosion go off in the Milky Way since 1604, when Johannes Kepler saw the last visible supernova explosion in our galaxy. But we expect, based on simulations and observations of other galaxies, that one like the Milky Way should have 2 to 3 supernova explosions every century. So we're way overdue. It's likely that these supernovae have gone off. Yeah. We just haven't been near them, or we haven't been able to see them. But my prediction is that we will have a visible supernova on June 25th, 2025. So next year, I'm saying a year from now, there's going to be a visible supernova that most of the world can see. And I want it to be in the north, but I know that's probably not going to happen. But I do want it to be bright enough that it shines over the New York City Pride Parade and turns that whole night into a glowed up party.
Wow, Moiya, I love that so much.
Thanks. And if it happens, then I want to be the Queen of Pride.
Then you get to be Queen of Pride.
Yeah, I think if a supernova actually happens right around
your own
the Pride Parade next year, I get my own star float. I get a crown.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Yes. Is it going to happen?
I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm putting it on the calendar, and we're going to check.
But if I lose, nothing happens. I still go to Pride.
You still get to go to Pride. You just won't get your own float.
Yes. All right. Well, that was this week in astronomy history, and also a bit of this week in astronomy future. If you want to send us your own predictions, feel free. We are Pale Blue Pod on the socials, and we're palebluepodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we are.
We'd love to hear from you.
Pod.
No, I know. Someone beat us to it.
Someone out there has it.
But no matter where you are in time or how you are customizing your own personal time machine, remember, you're still space.
You are.
Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.